Welcome to the Southeast Asia Future of Work Fellows Program Information Seminar. Thank you for your interest in the program and for joining us today. We hope that you're doing well and getting the support you need as we continue to live through this pandemic. My name is Dr. Lisa Cariagalo, and I am the CEO and founder of the LCLO Group. Before we start, I have just a few housekeeping notes. First, please post your email address in the Q&A box or email us at lclogroup@lclogroup.com if you'd like to receive more information about the Southeast Asia Future of Work Fellows Program. Second, the session is being recorded and we will post it on our website, lclogroup.com, soon after this presentation. Third, if you have any questions during the presentation, please type your question in the Q&A box. We will answer your questions during the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Over the next hour, we will cover the following agenda items: a welcome from our panelists and members of our LCLO Group team, followed by a brief summary about the fourth industrial revolution and the future of work challenges and opportunities. We will then discuss the specific aspects of the Southeast Asia Future of Work Fellowship, including education training approach, followed by the fellows application and selection processes, and then an overview of the timeline and logistics of the 10-month fellowship period. We will end with the Q&A session where our panelists will answer your questions live. Now, a brief introduction from the LCLO Group team. The LCLO Group is a social entrepreneurial enterprise that is committed to working with public-private partners in bringing about innovative solutions to educate, train, empower, and support individuals who are seeking to meaningfully contribute and find professional success in rapidly growing economic regions in Southeast Asia. I am very privileged to work with a team of dedicated experts, scholars, educators, and entrepreneurs, many of whom are here today. I would like to have them briefly introduce themselves now. Yixuan, would you like to start?
Sure, I'm Yixuan Chen. I'm an academic and dissertation coach. I'm also an adjunct professor and also work at the Harvard Business School.
Greg?
Hello, everyone. My name is Greg Yasser. I am the director of the Office of Undergraduate Research and Fellowships at Harvard University. I also serve as the director of Amgen Scholars, a global consortium of 24 institutions globally that support training for undergraduates in biotechnology.
Myra?
Hi, everyone. My name is Myra Liwanag. I work with the LCLO Group on fellowship programs and outreach. And currently, I serve as executive director for Escuelahang Filipino of Boston. We're a weekend cultural school focused on strengthening Filipino-American families, cultivating community and belonging, and raising the visibility of the Filipino community in the area. My background is in organization development, human resources, nonprofit management, and talent development.
Teresa?
Hello, everyone. I am Teresa Malonzo, the Director of Affirmative Action and Diversity Analytics at Harvard University.
Julie?
Welcome, everyone. My name is Julie Lee. I currently work as Associate Dean of the College at Brown University, and by training, I'm a clinical psychologist.
Yen?
Hi everyone, my name is Yan Chen. I graduated from Brown University. Currently, I am an MBA student at Yale University, and prior to this, I worked in investment management, building portfolio for university and foundations.
Don?
Hello, my name is Don Operario. I'm a professor of public health and global health at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island.
And James?
Hi, everyone. My name is James Beatty. My background is in biomedical engineering. I spent a lot of time, or number of years in the area of brain-computer interface. Recently, I transitioned to the renewable energy space, and I'm Chief Operating Officer of a renewable energy company.
Thank you so much to our fantastic team. We are living in unprecedented times. Even before the pandemic, the global workforce was already undergoing massive transformation and shifts in the essential skill sets needed to succeed in emerging jobs of the future. The fourth industrial revolution, where the physical, digital, and biological worlds have become more fully integrated, is already here. We have all seen the exponential advances in artificial intelligence, or AI, in robotics, the Internet of Things, 3D printing, genetic engineering, quantum computing, and other technologies, which have transformed the ways we work across so many industry sectors today. The pandemic, as you know, has only accelerated these innovations. According to the World Economic Forum, 2 years is the average shelf life of a technical skill in the working world today. The World Economic Forum estimates that by 2025, 85 million jobs will be displaced by machines. But the good news is that there will be 97 million new and adapted jobs to emerge at the same time. However, these new jobs will require new skill sets. Again, according to the World Economic Forum, as you see in this slide, these are the top 10 job skills that we will all need in order to succeed in the fourth industrial revolution future of work opportunities. And I'll just give you a moment to read this list. And they include problem solving, self-management, working with people, and technology use and development skills, as you can see. Do you feel that you already have mastery of these skills? If not, or if you feel like you need more training in these areas, your professional path to success will be dependent on your willingness to participate in new innovative training opportunities that are more adaptable and responsive, as stated in this quote from the recent 2020 Asia Foundation report. The See Future Work Fellows Program is a unique opportunity designated to be a targeted education and training ecosystem that uses evidence-based practices to effectively prepare talented and highly motivated professionals for meaningful and economically viable fourth industrial revolution jobs of the future. So what is our education and training approach? I'll turn it over to Yen.
So what makes our training program and approaches different from so many other programs that are offered out there? First, the other program often focus mainly on developing vocational or hard skill. So programs that are designed to train you for a specific job or to do certain specific things, if they do those well at all. Our program, however, does not do that. And furthermore, in those cases, you often pay those programs, whereas here we actually pay you a small stipend. And we take actually a very holistic and critical approach to training and development. When I say holistic, I mean we focus on you as a whole person and aim to give you a strong but flexible foundation to help you adapt and grow professionally and personally across a different environment. Given our collective background doing research, working in education, and across multiple different industries, such as medicine, tech, investment, as well as being people who were responsible for recruiting, training, and supporting the success of employee at many institutions. We know very well the type of characteristic qualities that successful people have. And we also know well what is needed to develop those characteristics and qualities. And not only that, we know very well the context of Southeast Asia, as well as what the future needs. So we will develop a fellow to have strong critical thinking, analytical, and problem-solving skill. And we also want people to develop strong coordination and interpersonal skill. So the ability to work independently, but also in teams and be able to manage time efficiently. This is why we do a problem-based learning curriculum. Where we give you a problem, we provide you with some information, and then we have you work with a team to solve the problem. So we understand that work and interaction nowadays might take different forms, which is part of the reason why our teaching is blended. So it is virtual, in person, and at the same time, or as everyone else, or on your own pace. In fact, this now replicate how you might work in the workplace nowadays. This process helps you to develop those skills that you need to work effectively in a professional environment. So right now, I'm a student at Yale Business School, and what I do every day in classes are problem-based learning with many different people, and we talk about ourselves a lot to better understand who we are. So you'll be doing something kind of similar to what I do, basically. And having taught and managed a lot of people, we also understand that people learn differently. So you might be a visual learner, you might be a auditory learner, or you might be learn better by reading or doing. And we ensure that our approach adapts to your needs, so that if you are a more visual learner, we will have you work with more visual material. If you are better with listening, we have more of those options for you. But we also know that feedback is important for learning, and it needs to be provided continuously throughout the program. And it needs to be specifically tailored to you. So we match you with mentor who will give you advices, and who you can go to for advices if you ever have any questions. So even if the material or the way that we teach is meant to meet you halfway and make you learn more effectively, there's also other people who are there to support you. And part of what we are teaching you is how to be more aware of who you are as a person, what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and how to make sure that you can ask for help and support in any setting. And having said that, we also know that you need the opportunity to practice and put what you learn into action to help you improve and retain those skills. So we work with you to find meaningful internship opportunities. You can think of this as the end project for your program. It's also a chance for you to explore and see what you might like working in, whether it's the function of your role, the industry, or the type of people. And this will also help you, in addition, to have an extra line on your resume. But at the end of all this, we hope that we have also given you the skill to be a lifelong learner, so that you might continue to learn, adapt, and grow in whatever environment you might be in. And it's what is going to keep you successful at the end of the day. And that's kind of it for my part. Thank you, everyone.
So let's talk a bit about the application itself and a strategy for putting together a competitive dossier for submission. When you download the application materials, you will see an instruction sheet that spells out the components of your application package and how to transmit it. There is very much a straightforward chronological process with a checklist that will help you. But if you have questions, you're always welcome to contact us by email to get your questions answered before you continue or complete the process. As you will see here on the slide, there are 5 essential elements: essay responses, of which there are 3, a current resume, 2 letters of recommendation, a college transcript, and the supplement, which is a form that includes your demographic profile information. Before beginning the composition process, it is important to read through the description carefully and fully. What about the fellowship is attractive to you? What does the description, more than the eligibility requirements, tell you about why this is a good fit for you, and vice versa? This exercise that you do before writing should be the foundation for putting together a competitive application. A good way to think about the future of Work Fellows application is fairly like the old saying, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. meaning that each component is an essential piece, but that the whole package provides a dimensional representation of you that will be evaluated by the selection committee in comparison to other applicants. So here are some tips that will be of value to consider. For the essays, please make sure you read the prompt for each of the 3 questions carefully. You will notice that there are several questions within a prompt, and human nature tells us that the question that you feel most comfortable answering is the one you're going to spend most time thinking about and writing. But make sure that you address all of the questions and not emphasize the response to the one to a degree that you have no space for the rest of the prompt. There are word limits, and so you want to make sure to stay within the word limits of each of the question, but answer all of the questions. For the resume, think about what you want to emphasize, particularly work experiences, whether and extracurricular activities. The resume should be a straightforward document of your own composition. It should be logical and chronological. Entries within sections should be most recent first. Check out templates such as myperfectresume.com or search Google for resume templates. But straightforward is better than flashy. It's the content that matters and how you organize that content that the selectors will be looking for. For your recommendations, choose individuals who you know well in a professional context or academic context who would also say that they know you well. When you ask them to write a letter, make sure they understand the nature of the future of work fellowship and why you think it is a good fit for you and vice versa. If possible, have a conversation with them and tell them why you thought they would be a good reference, what they could say about you beyond how they know you. Because if all of they can offer is just the context of how they have had you as in a professional capacity or a class that you took, that only gets to one part of what it is we need to know about whether or not the fellowship is a good choice. And we would like them to weigh in on that based on how they know you. Finally, it's a good idea to share your essay drafts for 2 reasons. One, the information you provide to them in your essays will help inform and elevate what they have to say about you. And 2, the feedback on your draft will be helpful to you in your fine-tuning before submission. And before submission, make sure you proofread everything. Neatness and organization count. As you look at your application, consider empathy. How empathetic are you? Meaning, try to sit in the seat of someone who will be reading your application. How do all the threads meld together? Can you confidently say that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts? The competitiveness of your application rests on your ability to make your application as dimensional as possible, to cover all the questions, and to make sure all of the threads of what you are submitting are cohesive, clear, and truly captures you and your desire to be a future of work fellow.
So I'm going to cover the selection committee. So our selection committee will assess applicant knowledge, skills, and motivation. The job of the selection committee is to recommend a diverse cohort of candidates for acceptance by LCLO leadership for the fellowship. The committee will be made up of LCLO team members, C-Fellows program faculty, and a couple of industry partners. So let's look at the process. On the slide, you can see the bulk of the process takes place over 3 months with 3 main stages. In May, looking at the application and the recommendations, reviewing them all together. In June, finalist interviews. In July, a final review, selection, and notification of candidates. Looking at May, when we're doing the application review, there's a pre-selection stage here where we'll take a look at applications with incomplete documents or that don't meet our basic requirements. And those may end up being screened out. So for example, in the requirements, you can see that a bachelor's degree not earned within the last 5 years, or if you're already enrolled in another education program, those would be factors that would rule you out for the fellowship. All completed applications will be reviewed soon after the May 3 deadline. The selection committee will conduct a rigorous evaluation of professional and educational background. In here, we're looking for evidence of high performance, growth, leadership experience, either in the workplace or if you haven't had much experience in the workplace, in one's community. We'll also be looking at applicant potential and your aspirations, looking at your passion and commitment, your career aspirations and goals that align with your strengths, signs of noteworthy motivation and commitment to making improvements and expanding your professional options, like taking courses, networking, etc. We'll also look at personal values and attributes that align with fellowship goals, such as the ability to work across cultures, the desire to contribute to your own community, resilience, maturity, and follow-through. By May 31st, finalists for the fellowship will be notified and invited for virtual interviews with selection committee members. Then in June, we'll conduct the finalist interviews. Now, this is a complex process, so interview stages may take place in parallel. For example, getting an interview doesn't necessarily mean we've completely verified that you've met the basic requirements, but we hope that these things will happen in sequence. The interview is an important part of the process. Check your email regularly, including your spam box, because if invited, we want to make sure that we get a response within a reasonable period of time. If we don't hear back from you, we might need to assume that you've withdrawn your candidacy. By June 30th, candidate interviews will be completed with a panel of interviewers. Then in July, final selection and notification will take place. The selection committee will assess the merits of each candidate and propose a cohort for the fellowship. It's a pretty straightforward process in July. Final decisions and offers of admission are going to be made, and by August 31st, we'll be able to announce the cohort of fellows. Thank you.
So I'd now like to walk you through the 10-month fellowship period, lasting roughly 40 weeks. As Yen mentioned earlier, our training approach is a blended teaching and learning model. And so it will require you not just to work with fellow cohort members online, but we will also require you to participate in 3 residencies. So the first residency will be in Laos on October 1st, and October 1st will be the first time that the cohort will meet together as a group. Now, keep in mind, we are living still in this pandemic, and so the first residency may well have to be virtual, depending on pandemic travel restrictions. And so we will obviously monitor that, and once we have the entire cohort finalized and you all are notified of your selection by August, we will let you know what the travel plans are likely to be. But we are very much hoping that the first residency will be in Laos from October 1st through October 8th. This will then be followed by an online first semester from October 11th through January 28th. And obviously between that time period of the first semester, there will be a vacation break over the holidays from December 18th through January 2nd. And soon after the first semester is ended on January 28th, we hope to welcome the entire team back for residency number 2 in Thailand from January 28th through February 4th. And then the second semester begins on February 7th through May 13th. The third residency will take place in Vietnam from May 13th through May 20th, with a vacation break from May 21st through May 31st. At the end of the residency period and vacation break in the spring, we will expect you then to be matched and begin to participate in the internship program with the industry sector that we will assign you to and based on your particular interests. And that'll take place from June 1st through July 31st. And at the end of that internship period, we hope that you will have successfully completed all of the requirements of the fellowship program, and we will meet in the Philippines for graduation and a final cohort meeting on August 1st through August 5th. So the commitments of the fellowship are the following. You need to be able to commit 20 hours per week for coursework and study. You will be assigned a couple of mentors, and you will meet monthly with these assigned mentors. The mentors will be either one of our faculty members from the C Fellows program and/or an industry partner who is familiar with the area that you are interested in working in. We will expect you to fulfill course requirements for the online problem-based learning curriculum, which will be 2 semesters, as I indicated earlier, 15 weeks per semester. And then we expect you to complete a 2-month internship, 8 weeks. And we do expect you to be at the site, depending obviously on the needs of the industry mentor that we will match you up with, and depending on obviously pandemic-related travel restrictions. We do expect you to attend the 3 residencies in person or virtually if pandemic travel restrictions are applied, but each of the 3 residencies are important moments for us to gather together in person, to meet one another, to get to know each other better, and also just to follow up on essential learning areas and training that we expect you to be able to fulfill during the fellowship period. As a professional in today's complex global economic environment, the C Future of Work Fellows program can offer you the relevant education tailored to your particular needs. Over the 10-month fellowship period, we will ensure that you are ready to become a lifelong learner with the critical knowledge that is essential in your chosen industry sector, and also with the human and technical skills, the professional networks, and hands-on practice that will prepare you to be highly competitive for fourth industrial revolution economic opportunities. As a C Future of Work Fellow, you will be an important influencer, leader, and role model in promoting lifelong learning values across the ASEAN region. We need motivated, creative, critical thinkers like you, committed to building and growing the economies of Southeast Asia. We are truly excited to see your applications and welcome the opportunity to learn more about you. And now we will answer questions from the Q&A box. Please feel free to post any questions you may have about the program and the application process at this time if you have not already done so. So a question that I hope Don might help us address. How can I best illustrate or show my talents and strengths in the application process?
That's a really good question. So to recall that the application encompasses several components. There will be several essays in which you can demonstrate your skills, your talents, your ambition, and your previous experiences. Your resume also is a way for you to highlight the specific aspects of your academic and your professional life to date that you think can make the best impression on the admissions committee. And obviously the people who you're going to select as your letter writers are people who we hope can present the best qualities of yourself and advocate for your professional and academic future. So these are all things that you have great choice and can exercise great ability to influence and present your best self. If you're concerned about your transcript, I think we would all say, don't worry too much. That's just one aspect of the larger dossier of materials that will be representing your skills and your qualifications for the program.
Thank you, Don. So another question is there an age requirement? We do not have an age requirement. We expect that many of our applicants will be entry-level, early career professionals, but we also are looking for individuals who may be looking to transition into a new industry sector, or maybe reskilling, or maybe coming back to the workforce for whatever reason. So we have no age requirement. Another question is this open to those who are currently employed? I am currently working as a project manager for a mobile app development. Yen, would you like to take that?
Yep. Yes, it is open to those who are currently employed. I will say though, as you can see, the requirement for the program is actually time intense. It is 20 hours a week that you do have to devote to the program for our lesson as well as for doing the work. And whether you devote that during the weeks, during the weekend, that's up to you. And obviously, you have to kind of manage that with your other responsibility, including your job. If you have the flexibility to be able to do that and the ability to do that, great. Definitely, please do apply. I will say, if you do have a full-time job, it might be a bit a lot to handle at time, but you know yourself best, and we trust you to use your own judgment. So yes.
Great. So Julie, I hope you might answer this next question. In the application process, how can I convey that I am a hard worker and can succeed in the program?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. A couple of things come to my mind. I think we would welcome you giving us a very specific examples. Perhaps on a project that you completed in your work. It could even be something you worked on while you were in school. But by including an example of something that you completed that was challenging, or during the process during which you faced an obstacle, and how you resolved or overcome might be helpful. Secondly, feel free to also include your personal experience, circumstances that you faced that has been challenging in some way that you have overcome to reach where you are. We absolutely invite people and all of you from various and diverse backgrounds to consider our program. And we would love to hear what are some circumstances that you may have also experienced that you have addressed in order to reach where you are.
Another question, which I hope Yishwen might be able to answer. Can you say a little bit more about what it means to work with a mentor?
Sure. When you work with a mentor, it's more of a collaborative process. It's kind of more, sometimes you just need the support to work with someone who with similar experience or even not. And sometimes you just have to, talk to someone and kind of brainstorm some ideas about how to problem solve, how to approach certain things. So it's not so much like, someone telling you it's less of a kind of a teacher-student relationship, but more about someone more experienced or someone, even a peer of sort to work together and talk about how to problem solve a certain situation.
Great, thank you, Yishwen. Another question is, what is the stipend? So I can answer that question. you will receive a total stipend of $3,000 US dollars for your successful participation over the 10-month period. The 3,000 US dollars will be dispersed over 3 periods. So you'll receive the first 1,000 in the beginning of your participation, and then another 1,000 in the middle, and 1,000 towards the end during your internship period. So again, the stipend is 3,000 US dollars over the 10-month period. Okay, I think we have another question. So after joining this program, what are you going to be doing after that? Like most, or just go in a different industry and get different jobs? Yen, would you like to answer that question?
Yes, I think the great thing about the program is that there's many more things you can do after it, and whether or not you want to go back to your old job, if you were employed, and take on new role, new responsibility, whether you want to explore in a new role in a different industry, that is very much a possibility. And depending on what you want, we might be able to provide some advising on where you might want to look and apply. I hope is that with the skill you have, you'll be able to rapidly advance no matter where you are and no matter what you're doing, and that you'll be able to rise into a position where you are also able to advise and mentor other people, and just kind of pass it forward in many ways. So yeah, to answer your question, there are many things you can do afterward, and the expectation is that you do go back into employment and with better skill and more responsibilities.
I think just to add to that as well, I think one of the most critical outcomes that we hope you will get out of participating as a See Future of Work Fellow is that you will be part of a large network of fellow young or professionals who are working in Southeast Asia. But secondly, you will also be exposed to and be introduced to quite a number of industry sector leaders in Southeast Asia, either in corporations or government entities and agencies or nonprofits who work in the global sector, which will allow you to have exposure to a wide variety of different career opportunities throughout the fellowship period.
Lisa, I can also add to that. Yeah, in terms of being in the cohort, I mean, there's a lot of benefits in being together. I mean, learning together. I mean, it's going to be like Lisa had mentioned, you have network of fellows that you're going to be, it's going to be like lifelong of, friends or lifelong professional contacts. So that's really a benefit of being in a cohort, especially as we continue to grow. The alums will be a great professional network for everyone as well.
Thank you, Teresa. That's such a great point. Let's see if there are other questions. So James, I wonder if you can answer this question. So the future of work is something that I don't know a lot about. What are some of the interesting jobs out there right now in new technologies, like the one that you're working in?
So in the space that I'm currently working in, renewable energy, specifically, I guess some of the fundamental technologies have been for a while, such as the the silicon that is used to create the solar panels. But I think a lot of where technology is going is using artificial intelligence or kind of mathematical algorithms to improve the efficiency of these systems. And you can see that not just in my industry, but kind of across the board. You can see a lot of artificial intelligence that's being used to improve efficiency in different industries. Whether you see some of it in education, you can see some of it in financial technologies, you can see it in robotics. And so I think a program like this really allows people or students to learn, or young professionals to learn kind of problem-solving skills that enable them to be successful when they kind of encounter new technologies such as AI or others.
Thank you, James. You will have training and opportunities to really learn about different types of technologies in AI to robotics, and we will be able to give you at least opportunities to talk to industry leaders related to these new technologies, but you'll also receive real hands-on training, especially around data analytics, pertaining to different types of industry sectors, whether that's in the travel industry, in media, in financial areas, to agricultural areas. So the problem-based learning curriculum that Yen talked about in terms of the approach that we are taking to have you train in future work industries really will allow you to be prepared to have the skills needed to be able to enter these areas. So on a different note, for travel, do we have to pay for our own flights and lodgings? So besides the stipend, for all of the residencies that you will be required to attend, the 3 residencies in Laos, in Thailand, and Vietnam, and also the final graduation, final cohort meeting in the Philippines, we, the LCLO Group, will be paying for all of your travel and lodgings and any other incidental travel expenses associated with those residencies. Great. So if there are no more questions, again, thank you for joining us today at the See Future of Work Fellows Information Seminar. I do hope you choose to apply. It is a fantastic opportunity to not just receive training, but to have access to a network of industry professionals and agency and government entities who can help you facilitate your professional growth to be prepared for future work opportunities in the future. Please do not hesitate to contact us via email at lclogroup@lclogroup.com. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and thank you again for joining us today.